Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my theological analysis for Cars. I went back and watched the first movie to do this video, and I had a lot of fun re-watching this movie again. It's a really good and fun movie, and watching the trailers for Cars 3 and seeing how you have Hudson Hornet in this one, and it's like he's a retired racer and he's kind of pushed out of it and stuff like that because he's injured, big wreck and things like that. You go to Cars 3, you have those clips of the wreck, you know it's kind of towards the end of McQueen's career. Are we going full circle? Watching Cars 1 again got me hyped for Cars 3, so I'm just throwing that out there. But when I was watching Cars 1 this time, I just feel like so much really stuck out to me. Like this, you watch the movie and you know what it is. You know it's a story of pride versus humility. And I think that's one of the reasons it really stands out to us. One of the reasons it made a lot of money, because we know that story, we relate to that story, we like that story. Also Mater.
And I know this may be a bad time right now, but you owe me $32,000 in legal fees. What?
But I mean, this movie opens and you have Lightning McQueen, who is the most prideful son of a car you could ever imagine. He is racing this race to get the Piston Cup, but not just the Piston Cup. He's racing this race in the beginning to make history because he wants to be the first rookie to win this championship Piston Cup and get the coveted Dynaco sponsorship and become the face of Dynaco. And so, like, he wants to be the first guy to get that. But he wants it for his own validation. He's got this vacuum inside and nothing's able to fill it because, well, you can't fill a vacuum. It's a vacuum. It keeps sucking things in. It never gives anything back. And so here he is trying to fill this, and he's like, he just glories in the fact that he is a one-man show. The movie made a point to tell us that he had already fired 3 pit crews on the course of just him being a rookie because he's a one-man show, baby. He's a one-man show. So even when his pit crew's trying to give him advice and be like, dude, we got to change your tires. You're not going to make it. He goes, no, just give me gas. I got to get going because he thinks he's invincible.
You fool! Lightning McQueen is 100 feet from his piston cup.
So he blows his tires and thus a 3-way tie occurs, so they have to have a championship race to break the 3-way tie between the Dynaco champion, the green dude, and Lightning McQueen. And so this is like, I feel like where we get the first preview into what's really going on with Lightning McQueen, because he gets a call from his agent, and his agent's like, hey, I got 20 tickets for you guys. These tickets are coveted, but I got 20 tickets for you to give to all your friends. And this is where McQueen hesitates because he doesn't have any friends. This is where we get that first clue. He's all about fame. He's all about fortune. He's all about private helicopters and Dynaco and being famous and rich and, you know, he's all about all of that. But this is that first look into the honesty of him, that he doesn't have friends and he doesn't have family. It's Disney. Why would he have family? So he has no friends, no family, and that's kind of a void inside. And so he's missing that, and he knows he is. But he quickly kind of just moves on from that. He's like, well, okay, whatever. So then an accident occurs, which involves McQueen getting lost and ending up in Radiator Springs. This is, as he calls it, a podunk hick town, and it is far beneath him. Every car in this town is beneath him. I mean, that is his mindset. It is all beneath him. None of us likes pride, and none of us likes that mindset. Even if we have pride ourselves, when we see it in other people and see that self-exaltation, it is very irritating. So in this town in Radiator Springs, he gets into some trouble. He has to do some community service and repave this road, and all of this is beneath him. He is so frustrated by this work, by the monotony of it. This town is so ordinary. It is so mundane. It is so your typical Monday through Friday, nothing happening kind of deal. And he can't stand it. He can't stand the ordinariness of this place. He can't stand the rustiness. He can't stand it at all. He just does not like it any little bit. But it's here in this place where he gets humbled. And what's interesting about his getting humbled is he's really starting to get friends.
I knowed I made a good choice.
In what?
My best friend.
Oh my gosh, such a touching scene. And then slowly he begins to fall in love with the Porsche. And as he falls in love with the Porsche, as he gets his best friend in Mater, he begins to open up and he begins to accept this town. He stops thinking about himself. He stops exalting himself and focusing on himself. And he starts to think about his friends. He's starting to think about these other cars. And that changes him to the point that we get to the final race in this movie. What's so interesting about this final race is he now knows what it means to actually run or drive a good race. When his friends show up, that's what gives him the true winner's mindset and inspiration to give it all he has. Those friends, those people that he loves, supporting him, gave him the inspiration to use his talents to the best of his ability and push his way to the win. But even when he had the chance to win the Piston Cup, he sacrificed the Piston Cup because the green dude knocked out the Dynaco champion. This was like the Dynaco champion's last race, and he was injured bad. He couldn't even finish the race. And now that McQueen has spent time with Hudson the Hornet, and he understands, like, oh my gosh, this media just chews you out and spits you out. And, you know, we're in this because we love it. So he sacrifices the Piston Cup to go to the Dynaco champion and give him a push to the finish line so that he could finish his last race. Like, he realized what it actually meant to run a good race, and then Dynaco offered him the sponsorship, not because he was a champion racer, but because he had a champion heart. Like, he seriously realized what he was racing for and what was important in life, and that's what he went for. Like, that sacrifice was everything, and that's what made Dynaco want him. The other thing that was interesting, while McQueen was being humbled, he was brought to a town that was kind of dying, but him coming there was able to revive the town. So it was a blessing for McQueen because he got his affairs in order, and it was a blessing for the town because it brought prosperity back to the town. And when I think about that, I just feel like that's just a message in there about God and what God does in our lives. I mean, 1 Peter 5:5-7 says, God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Therefore, humble yourselves under God's mighty hand, that he may exalt you in due time. And then my favorite part right here, cast your cares on him, because he cares for you. He cares about us, and he cares about those things. I was looking at my Bible this morning, and it put a meaning behind that word cares, and that meaning basically was a divided mind, divided by fear, worries, anxieties, and things like that. So he's basically saying, just give me your divided mind. I care about you. And look how much, I mean, if we were going to put it in this world, look at how much God cared for these cars, that he cared so much about McQueen to humble him so that he could truly be lifted up. And in the process of humbling McQueen, answered the prayers of a dying town and brought life and hope and prosperity back to a dying town. I mean, it's like using even McQueen's humbling to bring blessing to a town that was in desperate need of it, that was passed over by everybody else, and God was like, I haven't forgotten you. And so it was like a 1-2 punch. McQueen was lifted up at just the right time, and this town ended up being blessed because of it. It's amazing what happens when God gets involved and we give him that divided mindset. So when I was listening to the song in the end credits, what was so interesting about the song says, live for someone else and you'll find yourself. And I think we know that's true because Jesus echoed the same thing. If you try to hang on to your life, that self-exalting thing, you're gonna lose it. But whoever loses their life for my sake will really find it. I mean, that's such a powerful statement, and it seems so upside down compared to like the world we live in, but that's the truth of it. And I think innately we know that truth of it. And I feel like I watched this movie. It's a great picture of what happens when we humble ourselves under God's hand and he lifts us up at the right time, because it's not just a blessing for us, but it becomes a blessing for those around us. Just like when McQueen was humbled, he was lifted up at the right time, which was a blessing for him, and it was a blessing for all of Radiator Springs. So if you saw Cars, what kind of things did you see in this movie? What did you think about it? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and also let me know in the comments, are you excited for Cars 3? Let me know while you're there. Hit the subscribe button to become a Durbania. Next to the subscribe button is that bell. Click that bell so you're notified the moment I drop new videos. Check out my other theological analysis here on this channel, my spoiler-free reviews, spoiler talk reviews, my trailer reactions, and ranking videos, and other fun things I like to do here. So make sure you do that. Check all that out. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.